In this video, we're going to have a look at implicit differentiation. I've written out the product rule here because that's often used in exam questions on implicit differentiation, and it's actually used in this one as well. So step number one, we're going to differentiate each of these individual terms individually. So the differential of x squared with respect to x would just be 2x. I'm sure you guys are aware of that. Now, where it gets difficult is when you're differentiating terms like this, 4xy, because what we have is two different functions that are multiplied together. So that's where you have to use the product rule in order to differentiate them. So we call one of the functions u and the other function v. Now, do you remember to include the constant with one of the functions? It doesn't really matter which one, but yeah, let's do that. Now, in order to substitute into the right-hand side of this expression, we need two more variables. We need du dx and dv dx. So du dx is a differential of 4x, which is 4 in this case, and dv dx is what you get when you differentiate y. But you do have to remember that it's respect to x. The trick to this that I like to tell my students is you first differentiate y like you would normally, so that would be 1, but then you just multiply by dy dx afterwards. For example, if you were differentiating something like y squared with respect to x, once again, you're just going to differentiate like normal, so 2y, but then you multiply dy dx onto it. If you differentiated, let's say, y cubed, once again, you just differentiate like normal, so it's 3y squared, but then you multiply dy dx onto it. Just like that. So let's move on to now dealing with this. So honestly, we formed all the expressions. We just substitute to the right side of this expression now. So u times dv dx, which is 4x dy dx here. I'm just going to attach it to like our final answer because I might as well, instead of writing it out again and again. And then plus v du dx, which is y times 4, so plus 4y. So we've differentiated 4xy. Let's now move on to the next term that we need to differentiate. Minus x differentiates to minus 1. Y squared differentiates to, like I mentioned, you first differentiate just the y term, so 2y, and then just multiply dy dx onto it afterwards. And then equals, and then the differential of 35, which is 0. That's step number one. You differentiate each individual term as you need to. Step number two is you keep all the terms with dy dx on one side of the expression, and all the terms that don't have dy dx, you take it to the other side. In this case, let's keep all the dy dx terms on the left-hand side, and let's take all the other terms to the right-hand side. To do that, we're going to take away 2x, we're going to take away 4y, and we're going to plus 1 to both sides. Now, you might want to do these individual steps, but I don't want to keep you guys here for too long, so I'm just going to speed things up a little bit. Plus 2y dy dx, and equals, and not only are we subtracting and adding to the left-hand side, also to the right-hand side. So we have positive 1, take away 2x, take away 4y. Step number 3 is we're going to factor out dy dx from every term on the left-hand side. When you do that, the inside of the bracket will become 4x plus 2y. All equals everything that was already on the right-hand side, 1 minus 2x minus 4y. Last step is you take dy dx. Okay, I'm just going to zoom out quickly. Yeah. You take, you make dy dx the subject of the formula. So you divide both sides by this bracket on the left-hand side. That will be 1 minus 2x minus 4y. Everything that was already on the right-hand side divided by 4x plus 2y. And that's what gives you dy dx for this curve. And that's the answer to this whole question. Part A of this question, guys. So I'm just going to erase some of this just so we have space for... Okay, I knew that would happen. Yeah. And yeah, let's do the rest of this question while you guys can still see the question. So, moving on to part B, it says find the equation of a... Sorry, messing about too much of this. Find the equation of the tangent at the point P. So what is the tangent to a curve? I'm just going to remind you guys, if we have a random curve here, and we want the tangent at this point, a tangent is a straight line that matches the gradient of the curve at that point. Let's break that down. Because it's a straight line, it's in the form y equals mx plus c. What two variables do we need to find? We need to find the gradient of the tangent and where it crosses the y-axis. By the way, this is just a random curve, just to help you understand. It's not applicable to this whole question. How do we find the gradient of the curve? Well, the gradient of the tangent is given by dy dx. So I'm just going to write m for gradient of tangent is given by the dy dx of the curve, which is this whole expression here. Let's do it in a different color just to separate it from part A. Now, because we're finding it specifically at the point P, where x is 2 and y is 3, we can substitute x equals 2 and y equals 3 into dy dx to get the gradient of the tangent at that specific point. In this case, that's 1 minus 2 times 2 is 4. Minus 4 times 3 is minus 12. All divided by, well, 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 3 is 6. 1 minus 4 is minus 3, minus 12 is minus 15, all divided by 8 plus 6, which is 14. Now that we've got the gradient of the tangent, we can put into the form y equals mx plus c. Y equals minus 15 over 14x plus c. Now we need to find the value of c though. Because we know the tangent and the curve both meet at this specific point, we can substitute x equals 2 and y equals 3 into this expression to find the value of c. So let's do that. Replacing y with 3 is equal to minus 15 over 14 times 2, which is minus 30 over 14, all plus c. To make c my mind just blanked out. C would be equal to 3 plus 30 over 14. You can put this in a calculator, but I want to show you a crafty way of doing it. If these were both fractions, you can easily add together the numerators, so you can make the 3 a fraction out of 14. In this case, we know 14 times 3 is 42, so we can write it out as 42 over 14. And plus 30 over 14, and that's equal to 72 over 14, which actually simplifies, doesn't it? Because they're both even numbers. Now it's simplified to 36 over 7, and then yeah, we can replace our c with 36 over 7. And that's the final answer to this whole question. Hopefully it all made sense to you guys. I don't know why I did that, but yeah, be sure to like the video if it helped and subscribe. I'd appreciate a lot. Share the video too if it did help. Watching, I hope this video helped. If you have any tutoring inquiries, be sure to visit my website www.excellineducation.co.uk. It's on the first link in the description too.